What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I definitely am. We got some family time in. We had a picnic today. It was super nice. It was a beautiful day outside. A little bit of a breeze. I got to play with my old lacrosse stick. That was kind of fun. Shot some goals, hung out in the sun, ate some good food. Then we did some stuff around the house. And all in all, it's a pretty good day, pretty productive day. Anyways, this is Pokemon Mystery Mail Day, number 111. This is the 111th video we've done like this, talking about mail that I've ordered in, and is almost always a mystery to me because I am randomly getting these in and then forgetting kind of what's inside them. I do know what's inside of this one, so it'll still be a mystery for you guys, but I know what's inside of it. Basically by process of elimination. So this is going to be a great video. This is going to be the culmination of me collecting all of these types of cards and them coming together. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's show you guys what we ended up picking up. I love how eBay ships this stuff out. All right, in 3, 2, 1, bam! We got the beautiful Gold Star Treecko and a PSA 9. Looks really, really nice. We are getting very close. I believe we have 6 Gold Stars left. I want to say we need Espeon, Umbreon, Mew, Charizard, Vaporeon, Celebi. I think that's it. I think we have 6 cards left until we have completed the entire Gold Star set. My Rayquaza is a Beckett 9, and my Alakazam is a PSA 7 because I graded that card with a friend. That was a card I picked up for 60 bucks. So that was a pretty cool find. Really no point for me to upgrade the grade on that card considering the story that goes into the fact that I found that card basically for 60 bucks. Incredible. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this bad boy, and then let's talk about the origin and the history behind Treecko, Grovyle, and Sceptile, and kind of that whole type of species. Oh my gosh, this is really, really nice. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now guys, bear with me because this is the first time I'm seeing the card too, so I just want to look over it really, really quick. Oh man, it's super clean. Shout out to Falling Sunset. He sold his entire Gold Star collection, mainly PSA 8s, but his Hoenn starters, Torchic and Treecko, which I did the Torchic last week. Now we've got the Treecko as well. We did the Mudkip the week before that. So now we have all 3 of the Gold Star PSA 9 Hoenn starters. So this was pretty cool because these were the only cards he had in PSA 9. And I was really, really happy to get these. I was able to snag these right when they got listed. I'm really glad I got them. They're in impeccable shape. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take this void, if broken, seal out so we can take a look at the back of the card. I'm looking for any kind of imperfections. Damn, this thing is clean. This thing is clean. All right, so I'm going to show you guys the back of the card. So here's the front of the card. Now, this is definitely not my favorite starter. And, you know, mainly that has to do with the animation of him and the stance that he's in, and the fact that this darker tree bark in the illustration right here really keeps it from popping off the hollow pattern, which is unfortunate for Treecko. Of course, he's got a couple butt fart orbs right here. My Jolteon had those too, but my Jolteon also had a really nice swirl. So, oh well, I got the Treecko with the butt fart orbs. Let's go for butt fart orbs. Okay, but Treecko is just not really my favorite card of the Gold Star starters. That's not to say that it's not one of my favorite starters of all time, because it definitely is. In Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, I ran Treecko, I ran Mudkip, I ran Torchic. I think you had to play with each of them and just start the game over to have the full experience. But it looks really, really clean. Overall, it's a super clean card, which is what I was going for. So I'm going to give you guys the close-up real quick, and then we're going to talk about this guy and everything that he represents, everything that this card represents, everything that this Pokemon represents to me, and to my life specifically, right? So here's the back. as you guys can see, it's super, super clean. We've got a white dot right here on the bottom of the card, little white dot right there. Other than that, super, super clean back of the card. Very, very happy with it. Whew, no surprises there. You know, I think I've been really lucky with a lot of the gold stars I've picked up lately. A lot of them have been pretty clean, as is this one. Okay, so let's go ahead into it. Why do I love Treecko so much as a Pokemon? Well, when I was a kid, and I've talked about this, Treecko is kind of based off of, just like the Kanto starters, based off of pets and animals that kids would have in Japan at the time. So, and Treecko, they really, Sugimori really wanted to step it up a notch with Generation 3, and I've talked about this with various other types, with Torchic and its whole evolution line, and its story of being, you know, the carnival painted chicks in Japan, and then how it evolves into the humanoid Pokemon of Blaziken, and Sugimori wanted to see if people would abandon Blaziken in the PC in the game. Just like the kids would abandon their colored chicks in Japan. Well, Treecko's story is a little bit different. This is just basically kids loved to collect lizards. Lizards were a popular common pet to have in Japan at the time. And for me personally, I had a lot of pet geckos. In our front yard, I used to collect pet geckos all the time. Little green guys just like Treecko. So this Pokemon and this card definitely hits home to me. The more that these cards actually mean to me, the more they matter. The more it's less about, you know, the monetary value of these cards and more about like what they represent to me and why I am trying to get these cards in mint condition. Yeah, I could go one up and get PSA 10s, but that would be absolutely insane. That would be a completely irresponsible use of funds. Although one day it would be cool to have a PSA 10 Gold Star set. But that seems near impossible. Anyways, right now let's just celebrate. I just got this Gold Star added to our collection. I'll bring out probably all the Gold Star cards that I have so far in this video. Every now and again I do that, but I know most of the people on this channel have already seen that I have most of the Gold Stars. But I collected a lot of geckos as a kid. I would spend a lot of time outside running around playing and one by one capturing geckos. And so I have some facts that I jotted down. I'm not even going to act like I could memorize these off the top of my head. And I do want to respect the origin of Treecko's design and where some of that inspiration probably came from. And I want to get the facts all right. So I have some things, just some bullet points jotted down. So Treecko, they believe that Treecko comes from the genus Uroplatus. Now, luckily I didn't have to look at the paper yet to remember that, but this other one, I want to say, just for respect points, just so I can remember this without having to look down at this piece of paper. Tychozune is the other genus of the leaf-tailed gecko that we're going to talk about. But and I got that right. I think I definitely got that right. Tychozune. It starts with a P, but I think the P is silent. Anyways, yeah, I did get that right. Okay, so Treecko is based off of the genus species of gecko, the leaf-tailed gecko, the genus of the Uroplatus, which is commonly found on Madagascar, which has, Madagascar in general is one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. So it has a lot of species that you're not going to find anywhere else in the world. What's more, yeah, Uroplatus based off of the leaf-tailed gecko. As we can look at Treecko, Treecko is known in the Pokedex and Pokemon for being a very calm, cool, collected Pokemon, and also similar to Celebi, this is the same reason I love Celebi, is what Celebi represents. Treecko represents kind of the protector of the woodlands, protector of the forests. Same way that Celebi is kind of considered the guardian of the forest. There's actually a theme deck called Forest Guardian with Celebi in front of it for that reason. Pretty cool. But yeah, he's basically based off of the leaf-tailed geckos, and basically the sister genus, the Tychozune, which is known as flying geckos, even though that would be an exaggeration because really they're not flying geckos. They can't fly, but they can pretty much glide or parachute, which is why they're known as the flying geckos. But that's where Treecko is probably more known more known for in terms of actually looking like that exact species. And then Grovile and Sceptile are, which Grovile kind of fits into that flying gecko name, but Grovile and Sceptile are more thought to be based off of featherless dinosaurs, or let's see, what did I write down? Feathered dinosaurs. No, not featherless. Not featherless. They share similarities. Grovile and Sceptile share similarities with feathered dinosaurs, which you definitely get that when you look at Grovile. Grovile definitely looks like something out of Jurassic Park, so I'm not really surprised by that. A lot of Pokemon, I feel like, have gotten their origins from dinosaurs, even though when various artists have responded to this, like Arita and Sugimori, a lot of their designs really aren't from dinosaurs, but rather other species. But people tend to think that they are based off of dinosaurs, especially in Western culture. But the and the Sceptile's tail. So Treecko's last evolution line, Sceptile's tail is apparently very similar to a Tychozoon, which is the sister genus to the Uroplatus, which is the leaf-tailed gecko. So another fun thing, which I experienced this when I was a kid, when I would chase after geckos and try and catch them, occasionally I would feel bad about it because I would catch the geckos, but sometimes they wouldn't have their full tail. So there's a built-in weakness to the gecko vertebrae, which allow them to break off their tail and get away from their predators. This is definitely a helpful, advantageous adaptation, but also the tail tends to continue moving and squirming around, and I saw this as well when I was a kid, and that is to continue to trick the predator to focus on that squirming tail while the gecko is getting away. So pretty cool little fact about geckos. And then another really interesting fact about geckos in general are the way that they stick to surfaces. It has been known that geckos can stick to a flat surface and basically be hanging with one toe, one finger basically attached to whatever they're hanging onto, and they can still hold onto it. And researchers have been trying to figure out how they're able to hold on with a grip, a tight grip like that, with nothing else, to hold on to. And they've been trying to replicate it and create adhesives that do the same thing, and they've not been able to figure it out. One thing that is known is that whatever is holding on to surfaces, whatever allows these geckos, and I'm sure other species of lizards that have that adhesive ability, what they're chalking it up to now is like subatomic level size hairs, like little hairs, like I don't even know, microscopic hairs. Basically, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of hairs, tiny little hairs stuck to each one of their fingers that allow them to stick onto surfaces and grab onto the surfaces. And then when they pull off, which also baffles researchers, how geckos are able to not only stick to surfaces but pull off and move just as easily. And it's kind of like peeling off a sticker from what I read. Basically, when they lift their hands or fingers off of a surface, it's kind of like a sticker peeling back, and once it starts to peel off that surface, it helps them just peel entirely off. And it kind of reminds me of that Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, or I want to say Mission Impossible, where he's got the gadgets where he's climbing. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. He's climbing up the building, and he's like kind of peeling his hand back to get it off so that he can continue to stick. That's kind of what the geckos have to do. So I think that that's pretty cool. That still there are things that baffle us to this day about, certain species and animals that Pokemon are based off of. And normally I would talk about the value, which I'm going to. We're going to talk about the value. We're going to talk about what I paid for this card. I usually almost always overpay a little bit on cards, whether it's a swirl or the condition just looks really good and I feel good about it. I would rather overpay on a card or pay market price on a card and be really happy with it than save a couple $100 and there's a flaw on the card that bothers the out of me. So yeah, a lot of really cool things that inspired Treecko, and I think it's a good way to end the Hoenn starter collection. Let's I'm gonna pull these over here now, and we're gonna look at all the gold stars. We're gonna look at all the gold stars, some of my favorite cards. We're gonna check all these guys out. Pikachu is one of my all-time favorites, right up there with the Gyarados and Mewtwo and Rayquaza. But we're just gonna pay homage to our 3 Hoenn starters, since I'm really glad to have these all in my collection now. This is a big feat. These 3 cards together are very, very pricey, very hard to get your hands on, especially in good condition. My Mudkip has a sweet swirl, but yeah, here we are. We have the 3 starters from Hoenn region. Absolutely iconic. And I gotta say, the Mudkip is probably my favorite. The Mudkip probably just looks the best to me overall. The background being underground. The Torchic is really my least favorite. I would say Treecko and Mudkip probably before Torchic. But I will say, the story behind Torchic and the reason Torchic is this colored little chick is pretty cool to me. And if you want to learn more about that, watch my other mail day videos. But yeah, these cards are absolutely phenomenal. And so we're just going to go over real quick pretty much all the gold stars. So you have the Hoenn starters, you have Hold-On Phantoms, which I should have these set up by set. You have Hold-On Phantoms, which might be one of the best, other than like EX Deoxys, which I think I still prefer Hold-On Phantoms. In terms of the artwork, I think I prefer Hold-On Phantoms more than EX Deoxys, despite my love for Rayquaza. But you've got Pikachu, Gyarados, and Mewtwo. Quite a banger lineup for Hold-On Phantoms. You've got those 3. And then we've got EX Deoxys, which of course I have my Rayquaza is Beckett, which I'm not really bummed out about because it has a sick mouth swirl, which I always try to get to pop off in the camera. Might not be able to get it to pop off in the camera, but we're gonna try. Oh, can I not get it to show? There it is. There it is. There's that sick mouth swirl that Rayquaza has. That's why I love that card so much. That's literally the single-handed reason why I still have this card and why I haven't just sold it to get a Beckett, because I really like that mouth orb. But then we've got Latios and Latias over here. A lot of people are big fans of those, even though to me they're really just placeholders. I should learn really what was the inspiration behind Latias and Latios. That's one thing I don't know, and I should definitely figure that out and learn more about it. Then you have Delta Species, which is extremely underrated. You have 3 really, really underrated artworks here. You've got Groudon, Kyogre, and Metagross. They all just look absolutely phenomenal. And I feel like even on camera, it's not doing them justice. And also maybe the PSA slab sleeves are getting in the way of actually appreciating the cards. But got those. And then I only have one from Crystal Guardians. I think the other I'm missing from Crystal Guardians is Celebi. But we have the Alakazam that I picked up for $60 and got graded, and it came back a 7. And it's got a pretty cool swirl up here. Let's see if we can get that swirl to pop off. You guys can just barely see that swirl right there. Also, I'm excited when we hit 5,000 subs. We are going to open a base set heavy booster pack. I'm excited for that, guys. So we'll be doing that on Sunday. And then we've got the Flareon and Jolteon here. So we really need to get Vaporeon. I'm super conflicted right now because I need to finish the Gold Star set badly. Like, this has been a goal of mine for a while now, and I've really been dead set on it, and I've been more focused on it than anything else. But I also want the first edition Charizard. I also want to start collecting first edition Shinings. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. I don't know how I'm going to pull all this stuff off because Umbreon and Espeon are going to be really, really expensive. Umbreon and Espeon are going to be racks. Those are going to be expensive. And And then, you know, Mew, not too bad. I had an offer for $12.50 for the Mew Gold Star, and I passed it up. I should have just taken that offer. It was a private PayPal goods and services deal. I should have just taken that offer. And it ended up selling on eBay for $1,400. So it just goes to show you that people are willing to buy Gold Star Mew for $1,400 like that. And then Gold Star Charizard, that's like a $4,000 card. I'm trying to get one for like $3,700, $3,800, but that's pretty much right now is like market like $4,100, $4,200. And I'm trying to phrase things differently because even though I don't want to pay market, the market price is the market price, whatever. We won't argue about that, but I definitely would like to pay under market price for a card like that. It's just really expensive and one of the final pieces. And then Vaporeon's about, you know, $900 to $1,100, somewhere in that area. Whether you're buying one privately, you could probably get it at $900, $1,000, or off eBay or some other platform, you could probably get it for $1,100 or $1,200. But we just got a couple cards left. Celebi I could get for like $700 or $800. So like Celebi's on the back burner. I'm letting someone else just sit on their Celebi while I figure out what I need the most. And I think right now, the most pressing thing that I need as far as Gold Stars, there's plenty of Charizards laying around. There's no shortage of Gold Star Charizards. The Gold Star Umbreon and the Gold Star Espeon, they are non-holos, which makes this even more painful. They are extremely rare. They are from the Pop Series 5 packs, but they are non-holos. So they're really kind of lackluster, but it doesn't change the fact that they're just extremely valuable regardless. So there is one other thing that I could do. I could just buy a PSA 9 or PSA 10 Gold Star Celebrations Umbreon, but it just wouldn't be the same. That was the reprint in Celebrations. The original is not a holo, and it is very valuable. There's one listed on eBay for $9,000, and they'll probably go for around $6,000 or $7,000. I'm hoping either I get lucky enough that someone reaches out to me with a private offer, or I get lucky enough that an auction pops up, and maybe, just maybe, I could win one for around like $5,000 to $6,000, somewhere in that area. And even that is just so insane to spend on a non-holo Pokemon card, a Pokemon card that I don't even necessarily really want that much, which is the craziness of it all. But I can appreciate how rare and how valuable the card is, and you don't have a complete Gold Star set unless you have that card. Even if it's not a PSA 9, I almost bought a PSA 8. Even if it's a PSA 6 or 7, because I just want to save money. You can't have a complete Gold Star set without that card. So that card is definitely on the agenda, and I feel that it would be smart to buy it in a PSA 9, because that is a card that is rarely, if ever, going to pop up and be available, and there's just going to be less and less of them as the years move forward. So that's a card that I feel like is a top priority, maybe even more of a priority than first edition Charizard, which is painful because first edition Charizard is really the card that I probably want more than anything right now. But anyways, yeah, with all the Gold Stars, it's probably Gold Star Rayquaza is probably my favorite overall Gold Star. If I were to just buy one Gold Star and be done with it, it'd probably be Gold Star Rayquaza. This card is like my spirit Gold Star card. Like, this card just is absolutely amazing to me. And honestly, with the Beckett silver label matching the silver white colorless layout of the card, as well as the graded guard around it. The card just looks phenomenal, just like this, and like I feel like it fits my personality. Whereas in a PSA slab, it's just not gonna look the same, and I do worry about that. I feel like this is actually perfect as it is, but if I don't ever replace it with a PSA copy, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be completing the Gold Star set, whether it's PSA or BGS. And that's another option. I could go with BGS on some of these last slabs to save a little bit of money, but I'm going to try and just be patient. I haven't been buying anything this week, but we have some stuff coming up in the works. I've got to be patient. I've got to time this stuff right. What else was I gonna say? Okay, so the Treecko, the value of Treecko. What did I pay for Treecko? I paid $1,400 for Treecko. I just saw an auction end recently, or a buy it now end recently, for like $1,500 on Treecko. So to me, $1,400 was a pretty good buy. I felt like $1,400 wasn't a steal by any means, but he assured me like, bro, this is a super clean card. You're gonna be happy with it. And he also knew that I was going to be showing this card on YouTube, and he was like, trust me, like, it's not going to disappoint. And it didn't. The Treecko was super clean. It had like one white dot on the back of it. So while I didn't get an insanely good deal on Treecko, like 12 or 1300 or maybe even 1100 would have been an insane deal on Treecko. But we did 1400. I paid 1400 for Treecko, and it's probably worth that or maybe 1500, but I don't care. I really wanted to cross that one off. I've got all the Hoenn starters now, and the Gold Star collection is almost complete. Oh, okay. So we've got our last ones we're gonna go over here. Super underrated, but the Reggies, the Reggie Steel, Reggie Ice, and Reggie Rock, super underrated. You can see a swirl on that Reggie Ice. Reggie Steel is definitely my favorite one. These are really cool. Their whole origin and stories behind them are really cool. And then we have the legendary dogs, which are just super cheap. And in my opinion, if you start collecting gold stars, start with these. They're super cheap. It's a really great way to get that gold star collection started. Since you can find these for around $300 or $400 a pop, the price of 3 of these cards is usually the cost of just 1 of the other gold stars. So I think it's a pretty good way to get started. It's how I got started. I got these off of a friend. They were all sequentially graded together. The Suicune has a little indentation in it, which I'm not happy about. I didn't see that when I was looking over the card initially, and if I had seen it, I would have just bought these two and not the Suicune. But I'll probably, since these are so cheap, I'll probably end up, well, not so cheap, but relative to the other gold stars, what I'll probably end up doing is selling these PSA 9 gold stars and upgrading them to PSA 10s. Because the PSA 10 gold star legendary dogs are like still less than some of the average gold star prices. And then I would have them in PSA 10, which I think would be really badass to have the legendary dogs in PSA 10. It is cool that they're sequential, but if Suicune didn't have a dent in it, I probably wouldn't be thinking about getting rid of it. You can barely see it, but, you know, to the untrained eye, you're not going to see that there, but I saw it clear as day under lighting, and I was just like, I don't know. It just made me think, like, how, I mean, this card got a 9 because the back is pretty much flawless, but the surface has that dent. So, yeah, bummer on that. But either way, it's still a PSA 9, but a little just, indentions just, they bother the crap out of me. But anyways, we're almost finished with our gold star journey. We got a couple more of those left. Oh yeah, and the crystals. I have to finish the crystals. I need a crystal Celebi, which seems to keep going up in price. So I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish all of these goals. But it's going to be really exciting. Like, I'm glad I know what I primarily want to go after, and where I find the most value. And I think when I finish all these other goals, the mail days, once I finish a lot of these like grail goals, the mail days will probably consist of going back to collecting theme decks, since I love theme decks, and like other random vintage first edition holos, like Snorlax from Jungle first edition. That's a banger card to have. The Fossil Dragonite. I would say Gengar, but I'm not really a fan of the CGI design on Gengar from Fossil, so I'm going to go with Dragonite, which I actually have a first edition Dragonite. It's just probably like a PSA 6 or a PSA 7, something like that, or maybe a PSA 5, whatever. But I do have a handful of first editions that I really like, and they are constantly reminding me that, like, I still love vintage cards that aren't like grail cards, but I still have a respect for so many other cards that I want to collect. There's an endless amount of stuff to collect in this hobby. It's so hard to like decide what I'm trying to do, but I've got to be strategic. I have to budget. I have to save money for the future ahead of collecting and for my family. So anyways, think that's just about everything. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hit 5,000 subscribers finally. I'm nervous. I promised you guys I was going to open a heavy base set pack, so that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're just going to hope for the best. You know, I'm not expecting that I'm going to pull Charizard on the first pack. I don't even think I'm going to pull any of the big three on the first pack. But I'm looking forward to having the experience of opening vintage card packs, Pokemon packs, because I never got to do that as a kid. So this is going to be the first time for me ever opening a vintage base set pack. I have opened some other vintage packs on this channel, but not many. We did some Gym Heroes and we did a Jungle pack, and that was it. So, yeah, this will be really exciting. The future of the channel will be really exciting. And I guess overall, just thank you. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, watching the videos, and giving me ideas on other videos and other topics that you guys would like to see. Anyways, you guys have a fantastic night. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you got, if you got any mail in. Anyways, peace.